Hello, everyone. Happy Wednesday. I'm Christina Pan. Welcome to my LinkedIn Live podcast. I'm an executive coach, and I specialize in helping CEOs, founders, and executives get strategic clarity and confidence in your journey pioneering where there is no precedent. We strategically leverage your zone of genius for your next 10x. I'll be doing this podcast series on Wednesday, today, and the next 2 weeks at 4:30 Pacific for about maybe 15-20 minutes. And I will open up to Q&A for 5 minutes at the end if I see any questions posted. So there are two outcomes for this podcast series. One, I want to spark your mind with non-obvious insights on relatable obstacles that block leaders who are leading the next stage of AI innovation and growth, pioneering where there are no precedents. And two, if this resonates with you, I invite you to explore partnering with me in an executive coaching journey to be higher leverage with your zone of genius and unlock your greatest potential. So today, I want to spark your mind and talk about what Jensen Huang said about naysayers and doubters and how we can reframe so it doesn't subconsciously become internalized as a limiting belief in our minds and prematurely squash your best inventions and possibilities. Jensen was recently on Joe Rogan's podcast. Jensen said, it's very difficult to invent something new, and people don't believe you all the time. You're humiliated often, you're disbelieved most of the time. And he was talking about creating something from the ground up, which applies to many people listening here. And so he gave one useful reframing. He said, this is just part of the journey. And that is true. We're all in the same boat and have to face these naysayers and doubters quite often in the journey. And I want to offer another uplifting reframing to build upon that. A non-obvious insight is that this can be a blind spot, letting other people's limiting beliefs drag you down and slow down what you are meant to do in this world with your zone of genius. Does this resonate with anybody? Let me know in the comments. And part of this non-obvious insight is the highest leverage way to shift out of this blind spot is to shift your identity. The fastest way to shift your identity is through reframing with your zone of genius. That's how I help founders and executives reframe to high conviction confidence amid the crazy ups and downs, of innovating at the edge of what's possible through your zone of genius. So instead of having thoughts in your brain like, maybe I should give up, maybe I'm not meant to do this, or maybe this is too crazy, why do I have these crazy ideas? I've had clients who've said that. Instead, you could have thoughts like this in your brain instead. And this reframing is inspired by one of my clients. My greatest accomplishments have come from betting on myself. Today, I'm leading a wildly successful business that only I could have imagined. I'm using my strategic and learner zone of genius to transform the world, innovating on new inventive paradigms that didn't exist before to organize the world in ways that delight our customers and unlock their potential. As I said, this reframing, just to give you an example, was inspired by one of my clients. And this was highly valuable for him because as a CEO founder, he said this daily reframing practice helped him the most by reminding him why is he on this new path, what his core purpose is, what goal is he working toward, and how he's building on past successes, betting on himself, and using his zone of genius. How awesome is that? And I just want to call out to everyone, we can't hold both a positive thought and a negative thought in our brain in the same moment. So why not make it a positive one? Also, these aren't just words like saying fake positivity affirmation quotes. What you don't see on the outside is the deep work that went into this being useful and meaningful to this client. This work includes reframing obstacles in the journey, like maybe you have family members or former colleagues or friends who don't understand, and they're asking you, like, when are you gonna give up and go back and get a corporate job? Or, naysayers or doubters who think your idea will never work. Maybe investors saying, like, that's the dumbest idea they ever heard, or, people who just don't get it. The work also includes deep diving and strategizing on how to break down your zone of genius to first principles, which I talked about in my last podcast, and rebuild again in a new identity for your highest leverage. And this is just one example of many, many opportunities in your journey to reframing obstacles into possibilities. That is the main message I want to talk about today. It's the reframing obstacles into possibilities. And I'm using Jensen Huang's comment about naysayers and skeptics to illustrate this point. Okay, and the second thing related to this that I want to spark your mind on today is repetition. So I love pickleball. I'm going to use pickleball as an example, but this is true in any sport or music or many skills and activities. So I didn't get a killer serve in pickleball by doing 2 serves or even 10 serves. Right? I've done hundreds of serves, probably over 1,000 serves. Yes, I actually calculated it in the last few years to get a killer serve. And now it's ingrained in my muscle memory. I could do it in my sleep. It's the same thing with this reframing technique that my clients have said is incredibly valuable. The client who inspired the reframing example I gave earlier, he actually recently told me he's done this reframing practice every day for over 180 days in a row. Yes, 180-day plus streak. That's over 6 months. How awesome is that? That's incredible that he has formed such a strong habit out of nothing. And he said the most transformational value for him from this practice and our work together related to this practice is that reciting this every morning makes him excited about getting up early to create new things, even amid the uncertainty and many, many unknowns. As he said, he told me, well, my efforts bear fruit, TBD, but at least I'm enjoying the ride. That's incredible mindset right there. I'm enjoying the ride. How many people can say they're enjoying the ride, even when they're on an epic ride? That's amazing. And especially when it's a crazy ride, which, we're all on. And, or at least the people listening to this. And the good news is this is fully within our control. So back to my main point. This doesn't happen overnight. My client didn't shift his identity overnight. He didn't shift his default thoughts overnight. He didn't reprogram his brain overnight. Just like, my pickleball serve was not good after one day of playing. And on the subject of reframing, I also hear you if you're skeptical. Most of my clients are not familiar with a practice of reframing when we first start working together. I've even had clients say it seems hokey, and that is totally okay. I meet clients where they're at because I know over time the results will prove themselves. And it's also okay if the reframing practice doesn't resonate with you. Every person has a different zone of genius, so this means different strategies work for different people. So as I said in my first point number 1, the words need to actually mean something to you. It's not just positive words. And if you find in life that something becomes an obstacle for you or, a mind block, it often means a reframing opportunity. And in this case, the obstacle is people projecting limiting beliefs on you and giving you self-doubt. The gap, again, is an identity shift. And again, to my point number 2, repetition is key. Repetition in both reprogramming your thoughts and the and is important, and experimenting with different actions in your zone of genius. So it's not purely just thought work. We build confidence and conviction by both the mindset work and the experimenting with different actions. This is how we build confidence in a new identity. So we need to get the reps in to ingrain it in your mind, body, and soul to shift your default thoughts and identity. And this is important because it affects your energy and decisions on a daily basis. Also, I want to throw out one new idea related to this. This is more on the tactical execution side. One key in the habit design for all this is my clients and I design their reframing practices in ways that make it low mental overhead for them. So then they actually want to do the reframing practice. It's fun. You actually start building a habit. And, everyone has different ways they like to learn. Some people like writing, other people like speaking. Other people need visual cues, or maybe most people need visual cues. And so the accountability design needs to be customized for it to work, for this whole reframing practice idea to work. And I mentioned this today because one founder CEO just yesterday excitedly texted me a video from his Tesla using Grok to talk to him and guide him in daily affirmations around his ambitious vision and goal for his business. How cool is that? So I just want to share this quick idea. It's a new idea I'm going to test out with clients as well, that you could use Tesla and Grok if you have a Tesla, or you could also use voice-activated ChatGPT as a new idea for your reframing practice design. And so the last thing I want to spark your mind on today is 2 reframings for your energy management in tough times. And this is related to protecting and boosting your mental energy and emotional energy when you run into naysayers and doubters. So even if we don't work together in executive coaching and do like this deep inner work and create a reframing practice, at least you always can pull up these 2 reframings if you find yourself in a rut, feeling drained by outsiders, and you start doubting yourself. So the first reframing is a quote from Mahika Kapoor. I got this from Lenny's newsletter on Substack, and I love it. The reframing is, find the believers instead of swaying the skeptics. Yes, that is related to energy management because it is best use of our energy to focus on finding the believers and not getting drained and wasting our energy on trying to sway the skeptics. And this is especially true when you are pioneering on the AI frontier or in any new area. There are definitely going to be skeptics, as Jensen Huang said. So find the believers instead of swaying the skeptics. And the second reframing is you wouldn't have the crazy idea if you weren't meant to do it. I heard this from Jasmine Starr, and I love it because I myself and many of my clients feel like they are doing crazy things, or the things they want to do are crazy ideas. And again, back to Jensen talking about the naysayers and doubters, coming back to your mindset, remember the reframing. You wouldn't have the crazy idea if you weren't meant to do it. And so I just want to share those 2 with you for your energy management. My clients have found these reframings highly valuable as well. And I hope you found something valuable in here for you too. And so if today's podcast resonated with you and you want to explore potentially partnering in your journey pioneering where there's no precedents, I invite you to reach out or book a call on my LinkedIn. I specialize in helping CEOs, founders, and senior executives get strategic clarity and conviction in your journey leading AI transformation and innovation by using your zone of genius for higher leverage and a shift to your 10x or 100x identity faster. I'm an executive coach and former product leader with 20 plus years of experience in Silicon Valley startups and high growth companies. I started my career on Wall Street. I'm an MIT Sloan MBA, avid pickleball player, and my top natural gift is zone of genius maximizer. My zone of genius is maximizing your zone of genius. Wishing you your best energy and highest leverage in your zone of genius.